So he would say Volker Eisele.
Volker Eisele, yes.
In the last week, it feels like things are really coming into focus. It's been sort of a mild August. Temperatures didn't get much higher than 85, probably for the bulk of the month. So now finally we're seeing some heat, which is great. Things are really getting rolling now. 2014 was my first vintage with them. So I picked up with them in March of 14, made those wines, and from 14 onward have been mine. Right. I love the family. The vineyard is a very special spot, and yes, I do feel proud to be making their wines. Immediately before that, I had taken a maternity sabbatical to have a couple kids, and before that, I had been most notably at Paradigm for 4 years. I was the assistant winemaker. I also spent some time at Moonshine, which was a small Philippe Melka project. I also did little stints with Mike Herbie, who makes Relic and a number of other labels, and also Julian Fayard, who consults on a bunch of different projects, and so I assisted them at different times. I grew up in the Napa Valley, and I grew up around wine. I did not consider wine a career at all until I was nearly done with college. And at that point, I was studying biology. I was a semester away from graduating. Realized that there was a program for winemaking at Davis and didn't think it was the best use of my time to go back and get what was essentially be a second bachelor's degree at that point. So finished up school, and my first job was in the lab at Sebastiani. So basically 100% of my work experience has been in wine, even though my degree is not. No, it's a practical science, and because I do have the science background, the technical info I needed to assimilate was very, very straightforward. Oh yeah, you can smell it.
Well, it's a big deal because it's important.
It is, yeah. I don't think it's everything, but it's certainly something. And it is part of what attracted me, is that it was this breathing science. It was a real living science, not just lab, not just numbers, but it was a really applicable science. Yeah. Yep, it is a time capsule, and it's a way to measure time. It's a really tangible way to measure time. And my father worked in wine. He was not a winemaker, but he was on the facility side, on the operations side. So I knew from him that wine and winemaking was certainly not romantic, and it wasn't clean or pretty. It wasn't convenient. The hours were hard. I knew all of that going in, and none of it ever... It was part of the allure, really, for me, is that it was just so practical. The first time I ever worked in the cellar, I loved hooking up the hoses, the tanks, and the pumps because it felt like playing with Legos. Just click, that was something that, again, was just very attractive to me. Harvest, yeah. The whole experience, because we only get to do it once a year. I kind of tongue-in-cheek say that I'm a winemaker during harvest, and the rest of the year I'm a wine babysitter, which is kind of what it feels like. So I get to make wine now, and the rest of the year I'm I don't know, more of a shepherd, more of a teacher. Out on the Eisele Ranch, there actually is a historical winery. Have you ever been out there?
I have.
So there's the original gravity-fed set system winery, and I think it's even still bonded. And Alex and I have gone back and forth about refurbishing it and actually getting production there again. I'm firmly in the no camp for that very reason, that it's an isolated ranch. It's far out there. If something breaks, it is our job to fix it. Right. And it's awful hard to do that when you're on a mom and pop kind of operation. That and water. There's no water out there.
Really?
Well, it's a very impacted area. The amount of water it takes to run a winery is pretty astounding, and I don't think it's the best use of the water on the ranch. I heard it quoted that it takes 3 gallons of water to make 1 gallon of wine just in the winery. I have no way to verify that, but it seems about right. I do consult Alex as far as picking dates he's available to pick.
So he's out there helping with the pick.
Oh yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And they've got, I think, a team of about 10 ranch hands that are permanent throughout the year. And it's basically the same guys who do the picking. They don't like to bring in outside pickers. And if they do need extra hands, it's cousins and uncles and sons of the guys who are already working there. And they take tremendous pride. in the ranch in general. I mean, the vineyard is so meticulously cared for. And when the fruit arrives here in the winery, it's a running joke that it looks like table grapes because there's no leaves. It's just, they pick so clean. There's such pride that they take in it. So Pedro Navarez is the foreman of the ranch. He's been the foreman for like 35 years, and his dad was the foreman before him. So I like to think about just the wealth of knowledge that this man has about that property and the cycles and the consistency. And if Pedro tells me something about a block, like this block's tasting good, I absolutely listen.